definitely need to get a tripod for this camera. Alright. Stream elements is gone. Alright. Looks like it is live. Okay. Got a green square, so hopefully it'll stay up nice and smooth today. I haven't streamed with two cameras in a while, so hopefully this is still gonna be okay. Oh, it went yellow for a second there, but I think we're all right. Okay, I have some carving to do today. Let's see, who's gonna go first? Oh, I'm going red. Let me adjust some things. Oh. I'm gonna have to close. Let's close that. And close this.
Let me quickly show you how to create someone.
Okay. Let's see. Is it better? Yes, no, maybe? Better? Okay. Yeah, I closed everything but the window that shows me how to rate another stream when I'm done. Because I need that. I'm going to try and do that this time and hopefully actually do it right. Okay. I'm going to need most of my tools today because I have a few different things that I'm trying to do here. I did this one before and actually showed it, but come on, camera, you want to focus for me? There we go. But the more I looked at it, the more I hated the way I carved it, so we're going to completely revamp it. I'm going to take that whole nose off and carve out a skull shape and then try and carve out the cheeks. I've never attempted that on a Middie plate. They actually almost look thicker than the regular Blythe plates, so I think it's gonna work. But this is a major experiment. I've definitely never tried anything like this before, so we'll see how it goes. I'm also gonna need one of my round ones. I don't know if that's going to be too big though. I'm just going to take them all out just to be safe. And then I also have my cutter heads, which I may need to get, you know, actual pieces out. And I'm definitely going to need to do the broken doll carving. I haven't used most of those yet, so that'll be fun. Alright, I think that's everything. So, yeah, I think we're going to start with this one. Let me actually, I want to adjust this a little bit. There we go. I think that's a better view. Okay. Yeah. Now, where to start? I actually might start with a regular pointed carving head. No, you know what? I'm going to start with a pretty blunt one because I just want to flatten the lip shape up here before I really start carving out any details. Yeah, I want to flatten those out really well first. So, let me see what the bluntest one that I have. I think it's going to be this one. Whoop. Yeah, this was initially going to be a painting stream, but I ended up doing pretty much all of my painting last night. I didn't really save enough to do a stream. I have a couple of things that I need to finish before this weekend, but they really just need a final spray. So I worked a little bit more on this one. And I got her axe sculpted and painted. And my camera doesn't want to focus. There we go. Sculpted and painted, which I feel like I did a pretty decent job since I've never made an axe before. Yeah, so oh, I just stuck my finger in the gooey paint, but that's okay. Anyway, that was going to be the main project for this stream, but I ended up finishing it early. So anyway, gonna do a little bit of carving. Oh, you know what? Protect my airway first because this gets very, very dusty. All right. Put it on like a medium speed because I don't want to flatten anything too much. So I want to go kind of slow. I'm trying to flatten out the lip itself into the area around it. I'm going to start on the bottom one because I feel like I did a really bad job carving it, so it's already pretty flat. And it can stick out a little bit because that's where the teeth are going to be, obviously. I also want to flatten out the chin just a little. So that's why I'm going at it with a really blunt head to start, because I don't want to carve any kind of a shape. I intentionally want to just flatten it as much as possible. So I'm just sort of tapping it from the top and trying not to hit it at an angle. Going on a low speed with a really blunt head means you can work very, very slowly, and you're much less likely to make any mistakes that can't be fixed. So I'm just going to keep doing that. Now, I feel like the bottom one is flattened pretty well. It looks much less like a lip and more like just a smooth surface. Casey, hey, how's it going? Glad you can make it in. Alright, so now I'm gonna try and smooth out that chin just a little bit more because I want this whole piece to be pretty smooth. Obviously, like, a chin has a little bit of a... It can be a little bit prominent, but you don't want it to look fleshy if it's going to be a skull, obviously. So, I'm going to do the same thing and go with the blunt end. Except instead of tapping, I'm just going to kind of smooth around in little half circles. Ignoring work, nice. Alright. This should go much faster because I already smoothed the chin a little bit. Because Middie's, most of the plates come with like a cleft chin, and I prefer a smooth kind of pointy chin. So I had already taken the cleft out, and all I'm really doing now is re-rounding the point that I made in it before. Okay. So, yeah, that's much better. Alright, now I'm going to go in and basically do the same thing on the top and smooth out the lip and also the little bit where I indented the philtrum. And then I'm going to crank it up to high speed and take off that nose. And then I will redraw the skull bits back on and start actually carving. Alright. So this one, because I did carve that philtrum out, I'm not going to tap so much as I am going to do the same thing as the chin, and I want to just smooth it sort of back and forth. And then also I had taken a little bit out behind and above the lips, so I'm going to go at a slight angle to smooth that back to all one level again. I'm actually going to turn my light down a tiny bit because it's still glaring a lot. I wonder if I need to turn my overhead light off, maybe. Let's turn this one on instead and see if maybe that's better. No, it's my camera just doesn't like how white everything is. Let's see, what else could I do to fix that? I don't know. Maybe it would be better if I put one of my silicone mats down, but I'm not that bothered. You can still see it when I hold it up. These are just kinks that'll need to be worked out over time as I get used to my new camera. Alright. I'm going to smooth this bottom one down just a little bit more. And then this way, now I can go back and forth across them. Get that surface really good and smooth again. Okay. I am liking how this is looking. Nice and smooth. Just looks like it would be a smooth, bony surface. Alright, so now I'm going to turn it up to high speed, and here comes the fun part. I'm going to take a whole entire nose off. Okay. Actually, before I even do that, I'm going to see if I can't just sort of scoop it off with my cutters. Let go. Okay, I'm going to take, not the pointy one. I'm going to take, come on, go in there. My rounded one. And see if I can't just maybe not the rounded one. It might actually be easier to go with a flat one. Yeah, we'll go a flat one. Take a flat head here. And I want to just take off the whole nose. You know, I may not have the hand strength for this, actually. Just because so many of my fingers are acting up right now. But I can start the process at the very least. Yeah. It's not going to come off like that. Lady B! Hey! Thanks for stopping in. How's it going? Lady B has joined me over from Mortish Noir's stream. She's streaming Resident Evil 4 right now. I was watching her while I was setting my stream up. She streams for, you know, an appropriate amount of time for a actual streamer, so we may end up rating her out at the end of the day today. Hello. Yeah, this weather is just, it's making all of my joints flare. It's really not good. And then I got the sciatica that just sprouted up out of nowhere. I think actually I may take one of my cutter heads here and slice this nose off. I think that that's probably going to be the easiest way to do this with the least amount of mess. Because otherwise taking off this whole chunk of plastic is gonna make a whole bunch of dust. Alright. You gotta use the cutter heads on higher speeds. So let's try this. Oh yeah. There we go. Okay. This is going really good. I need to get one of the bigger cutters though. Yeah. It's gonna get stuck. So, let me grab one of the big ones and try that. Alright. Alright, I have to push, not pull. That's the hardest thing to remember with the cutting heads. I always want to pull on them. It's coming. We're almost there. This is probably one of the weirder things I've ever attempted to do to a faceplate. It's gonna have to come off in pieces, I think. I wanted to be funny to just take the whole nose off at once, but I don't know that it's gonna work. Although we're almost there. Almost there. I can see almost all the way through. Hey, it's off! Yes, a very botched nose job. Here we go, look at that. It's a little nose. Alright, we're making a little... Come on, stop glaring. A little skeleton face. That was the hard part, getting that whole nose off. So I'm going to take a buffer head and smooth it out again. Alright. I mean, it doesn't look like much, but it is a pretty solid chunk of plastic, so that's why I don't just like to go in and sand that whole thing down if I don't have to. Alright, so I'm going to take my blunt head again here, and we're going to smooth it. Woo! Pieces flying. And get it as smooth as I can. Alright, that's good enough because I still have to actually carve it out. Oh, I think I put my little mechanical pencil in my D&D bag, so we're going to just use this one. Hopefully this is sharp enough. And I'm going to redraw where I carved so that I can see what I'm going to cut with my pointy head in a minute here. I'm just gonna draw this little nasal cavity back on, give it a little bit more shape at the bottom here. Alright, and then redraw the little lines for the teeth, and I'm gonna carve those in. Let me get them a little straighter. Take this little ghosty girl to the orthodontist. Alright. And here. Nope. Trying to get them relatively symmetrical. I mean, my whole aesthetic is kind of asymmetrical and a little bit wonky on purpose, but for the most part I do want things to be relatively even. So alright, so we've got our little skull back here, And that's what I'm going to actually carve into the face now that I've got a nice flat base surface to work with. Look at that. She went to the plastic surgeon and asked to get that Lord Voldemort. All right. Let's get some of this out of the way here. All right. Here we go. Let's see. Actually, I think my sharpest head. The fog on my glasses. I think this is going to be the sharpest one. So we're going to start with the sharpest one I've got. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to actually carve through, because again, this is pretty thick plastic. If I hold it up to the light, yeah, I can't even see through it in most places. So I think I'm not going to be able to carve all the way through. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to carve enough that it's, you know, a really clear, solid indent, and then I can paint everything black and it will still have the same effect. Alright, I'm going to go about medium speed here. Oh, I've got to be really precise. And this is where you want to just not move it at all. Just press it and hold. Which is a lot easier said than done because it wants to vibrate. But hold it really steady. And then once you get that little divot, you can carve it out more. Okay, I got that. Oh, got that first tooth in there. So, there's one. And it's okay if the edges are pretty rough because I will be using my little buffer heads at the end. I hate that it is glaring on the one area I want it to be focused on. This camera does not want to cooperate with me today. Get all these little teeth in here. Two more little teeth on each side. Whew. Okay, now that I got those in, I'm going to lay down this dividing line in the middle. Just a little bit thicker. Alright, and take a little carving break here because it's getting extra dusty. Put a dusting head on. Getting all those little crevices. Alright, now I'll be able to see what I'm doing better, but you see all the little twofers carved in real good. Alright, yeah, I'm mostly happy with that. I do want to fix up this curve a little bit now that I can actually see it better. And then we will do these little cheek bits. Alright, back at it. Actually, let me just... I'm going to reinforce the tooth carvings along this line first. And then go in. And I'm gonna get the duster again. I love this. This is probably one of my most used Dremel heads, honestly. Because when you're doing a whole bunch of little carvings like this, where all of that dust gets trapped, it makes it nearly impossible to actually see what you're doing. So you just take a break every few minutes in your carving, run your little duster over it. Now you got a clear surface again. It's looking pretty good. I'm happy with that. There's some hand sanding that I'm going to need to do later with my little tool go. This one specifically, I think, is going to be able to get in there really good and just clean up and round off the edges of the little teeth to make them look a little more tooth-like. Yeah. Alright, I need to Can you see how it's kind of a little bit crooked in the middle there? Well, you could if it wasn't so glared. There we go. So what I'm going to do is bring this side up a little bit more. Let's keep it on like a medium speed here. I'm going to focus more on the top when I do this little push in. And it wasn't like a huge difference, but it's enough that I notice it, so I'm just going to correct it now. I'm also going to try and flatten these front teeth a little bit more. Just with the blunt side here. Keep cleaning these up every time. Alright, so this will be a better before and after. You can kind of see how much dust is getting in here. And it just makes it a little hard to see where the actual carving ends. So just getting here with this. And come on, focus please. There we go. So now you can see much more clearly how deep your actual carving is. Okay. This is looking pretty good. I think that other than adding some paint in there to really, some paint and even just like some shading with pastels to really pull those lines out, I think it's going to look really good. So I'm going to start on these cheek lines here. Oh, why can I not? There we go. I'm going to take the duster head out, put my carving head back in. Actually, because these are rounded, I don't want one that's quite so pointy. So I think the one that's going to work better for this is a little bit small. I may go back to the one that I was using before, but maybe a round one even. I'm going to try this one. It's about the same thickness as the head that I had on first, but you can see it's got more of a rounded tip on it. So put the pointy one away. I'm going to start with this. And I'm just gonna fully lean into it. Alright, and then turn it around and go right back the other direction. I'm not quite up to the edge where I had drawn, so I'm gonna push out a little bit. Alright. Alright, now back to this one. And alright, you see I got a nice deep carve in there. I am going to want the edges to be not rounded in towards the carving. You want it to look like the bones are actually just separate bones. So I am going to go in with a straighter carving head when I get the shape just right and flatten those out a little. But for now, I think I actually need to bring the shape in just a little bit more. So at this point, this is where pencil is a little harder to see. So I'm just going to give myself minimal markings here. Just along the edges. And then this way I know when these markings have been removed, I have carved enough. So I got a little wobbly with the shape on this side, so I'm going to try and be a little more steady with my hand. Just keep going until those lines are removed. And it's getting hard to see again, so go back to this one. All right. And I think these are just on the loose bits here. So yeah. So now all of my blue marks are gone. So I know I've carved deep enough, and at this point it's just a matter of really perfecting that shape. So I'm going to move on and do the other side. And then do the nose, and then we'll get into really perfecting the shapes of all of those carvings. Let me remove some of the dust. All right, this is coming along really well. I wasn't actually sure how well this was going to work. I'm getting deep enough into the plastic that I think that the illusion is really going to be there, that it goes all the way through without compromising the integrity of the faceplate. Like, it's still going to be able to snap together really securely. Which is something that I'm a little bit nervous about with this one in particular, because I have so many cracks that I want to carve into it. And this is what I was saying. I feel like the Middie plates are almost thicker, because if I hold them up to the light, I can see through this one better than I can see through this one. So I think... Oh, I got squirrels begging for food. 1 second here. But I think what I'm going to do is just like carve these as indents and only take out the parts that are fully filled in. Because I'm really worried that otherwise I'm not going to be able to snap this head back together. So give me a second here. They're knocking on my door. I see you, Mama. Oh my goodness, how many of you are here? I hope that's enough. There you go. Gotta feed my squirrels. All right. So, yeah, we're gonna go back to carving a hole in this face. We're getting there. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to finish one on stream today, but I think we'll be able to finish this one and possibly start a second one. There's that fog again. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing that we just did. I'm going to turn this up just a little bit. Not all the way. Oh my goodness. This side is not going as well. I think it's just the angle is a little bit more awkward. I don't know why this side is being so much more difficult. All of this thick plastic just bunching up and not coming off. There we go. That was really not helping. Alright. Alright. And it's getting a little hard to see, so get my duster again. Just clean everything up. Oh, I did pull that one out farther, but that is an easy fix. Alright, so I did make the carving a little bit longer on this side by accident. I really should have dusted a little bit earlier, but it's alright because that's an easy fix. I just have to pull this side out a little bit more. And it doesn't look bad. Come on, stop glaring like that. Stop it, camera. Oh my god, it really doesn't like this white. There we go. Yeah, it doesn't look bad, but one side did get a little bit longer than the other. So I'm gonna correct that. Why am I orange again? Am I still okay? Where's my music? There we go. Alright, got my music back. Okay. Let's see, how much farther did I pull that out? Like a 1/4 inch maybe. If even. 2 millimeters really. Get that a little more blunt. This is some thick plastic, for sure. Because I still haven't gone through it. And I feel like I'm just carving deeper and deeper. Alright. Get the dusting head, and I feel like I'm good to go on these pretty much. Aside from, you know, the cleanup and getting the edges of the shaping just right. I feel like those are pretty even now. So I'm going to take off this little bit of pencil that's left. Although that'll come off in the final sanding anyway. This is why I always have like 15 face plates, because if I get one where I'm just not happy with the carving, I just set it aside to do something really experimental with. I won't throw it away. dusting head off. Put that over there. Let's see. For the nose, I kind of lost my lines, so I'm going to use the marker instead, just to keep them really visible until they've been carved. Okay, so this is next. Now I think I may want to go back to my really sharp one to get those points. But for the end of the nose, I actually think a rounded tip is going to be the best way to start it. So let me get one of my little ball stylus tips. I think, where's my other, that's way too small. This one I think is going to be, yeah, that's much too big. So I think, although that's not much bigger, I may need to get more ball tips. I don't have a huge variety of sizes in these, but we're gonna try with this one. Medium speed again. And I'm just gonna push it down until it gets a good indent in there. And then do the same thing on the other side. And I'm going to try and join those. I'm struggling to get this on camera without being like right up in my microphone with the Dremel. I'm doing my best. I hope it's working okay, and that I'm not just deafening everybody with the buzz of my Dremel. Oh, skidded along the top there. That would be why I only use at medium speed, because at high speed it tends to actually cut when you skid across the surface like that. And then you have unfixable mistakes. This way, at low speed, you just have happy little accidents that are fixable with a little bit of sanding. Alright, I feel like I've got the bottom part of the nose cavity pretty well shaped out here. So we're gonna go back to the duster head. Oh no! Where have we gone? Cannot reach. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I'm happy with that bottom shape. I do want to smooth it out more, but I'm going to get the top bit carved and then I can kind of smooth it all in one go. So I'm going to put the little ball stylus head back for now. And go back to the sharp one. Can't tell if I have hair or dust going in my eyeballs. Alright. Now, I'm going to lay it down kind of in the middle. And just kind of work my way out until I've carved out a section. Alright, I feel like that is pretty good. Yeah. Just get this little nubbin out of the middle. And then I'm going to do the other side. And I'm going to lay right on top of this middle line again. And just push it in. Straight down. And then go on the outside of the line and push it in. And I'm getting this little like nubbin. Oh, it just flew right off. You get these little like nubbins that'll form. And then you just sort of connect. I want to bring this center bit down a little bit more. Just getting that little ridge out that was left when I took off the nose. Smooth that. And the duster head. Clean things up a little so I can see what I'm doing. Well, welcome back, Casey. Okay, so you can see I need to take a little bit more out of this top bit that I cut, but the cutting was the hard part. So I did that with the really, really sharp head. I'm going to go in with a slightly blunter head now and just sand down the plastic until it is the same level as the bottom of the nose. After I get a little bit of this dust off of my table. Alright. So, let's see. Which head would be good for this? I think I need one that's still relatively narrow. I think I'm going to use my mini Philtrum. So this one is what I initially used to make the Middie Philtrum. I also use it to carve out nostrils a lot because it's very small and it's a little bit sharp on the end, but it's also sort of rounded in the middle. So, come on. Focus, please. Come on. There we go. So, yeah, I don't know what you would really call this shape. It is very small. So I'm thinking that it's going to get in these little grooves really nicely without widening them. Yeah. Let's just take this little, there we go. Need to get this little bit of the septum out of the way here. Carve this down from the inside. Just get all the little excess plastic off of the edges here. Alright, I think that's level with the bottom of the nose carving now. Or the nose cavity, I mean. So I think what I'm going to do now is get another ball stylus and just smooth them out. Oh, maybe not. I think I want to take a little bit of this septum up a little bit higher and also remove a little bit more on this side where it's just not quite as deep. So we're going to go back to this one one more time. Probably for the last time. And just sort of lean into this little bit of septum in between the two carvings. I'm not going to attack it from the top because I don't want to take off too much. I'm just going to kind of keep leaning into it from an angle from both sides until it goes up by itself, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. And then once that little bit is gone, then I'll go in there and even it out. And then just smooth it. I think we're probably good. You could actually put a light through their head. You could either potentially thread the wires through the neck on the body somehow, or do I don't have a back plate handy, but I do have a whole separate doll handy. Hold on. So, on the backs, this is what the back of a Middie faceplate looks like. There's no holes, but there's also no mechanisms or anything in this part right underneath the gear that turns their eyes. So you could potentially put a hole in there and thread a wire through and have like a battery pack strapped to their back. That would do it. Or for a full-size Blythe, they have this hole where the strings come out to change their eyes. So you could put the wire in through there as well. They also have more space in their head than the Middies, so you could definitely put a battery pack potentially attached to this back plate. And if you look at what they look like when they're snapped together, this back plate doesn't actually go with this head, but they should snap okay. So when you snap them together, this space in between, come on, here we go, there, this little thing and this little thing on the other side holds their iMac. But aside from the iMac that goes between those, there's nothing else inside of the head. So you could fit a whole bunch of wires or things in there. I have seen people do that, and it comes out really cool. I've seen people put lights in there. One person put a music box mechanism in there, which was really, really awesome. I would love to do that at some point. I think that would be a really fun thing to try, specifically with my really creepy, spooky style of dolls, to have like a creepy music box that you could play that would be inside of their head. Or like the cyborg baby doll that I did with the L wire that was threaded in and out through the face and body. I think that would be a really fun thing to try with Blythe dolls too. Yeah, okay, so this one, yeah, I still haven't gone all the way through, and I have put some pretty deep carving in there, so I'm gonna have to go with my gut and say that I was correct in thinking the Middie plates are significantly thicker in the middle of their face here. So that works for me because it makes it easier for me to carve without worrying that I'm going to break something or, again, compromise the integrity of the head where it wouldn't be able to close again later. Alright, so at this point I just need to smooth the top of the nose carving and the bottom of the nose carving because you can see it's still a little bit lumpy. I'm really happy with the shape, so I'm going to take a really blunt one of these, probably a ball stylus head. Yeah, I think it would be easier to go in with another ball stylus head. And smooth this. Let me just make sure that I can't... Yeah, that's not going to fit in there. Never mind. I don't think I have another ball stylus, although this is pretty blunt as well. I think that this may work. Let me try this one just because it's a little bigger, so I think it'll be able to smooth more surface area faster. Make sure it's not too big. Oh no, this is going to be perfect. Okay, here we go. First, let's just really reinforce these round corners on the bottom. Round corners, round edges. Not really corners if they're round, right? Alright, and then just kind of roll it around until it's all smooth and level. Oh my gosh, this is coming out so cute. I'm so glad this worked as well as it did. I was very unsure. I have not attempted any carving like this yet. This is my first time doing something this ambitious, and I did it on a Middie plate, which is like half the size. Oh, it's Jeremy the Madman. Hello! Yeah, we are doing very creepy dollies today. I am essentially rescuing what I considered to be a failed carving by just carving the hell out of it and turning it into a skeleton instead, basically. And it wasn't even really a failed carving, it was just that I was really unhappy with how it came out. And I had this idea in my head for a while that was just waiting for a faceplate that I was unhappy with. So this one ended up being the lucky winner. Okay, I feel like this is pretty good. Let me just roll it along the edges and get all of these loose bits of plastic off. Actually, let me turn it down to do that. Really round out these edges as much as I can. Do these while I'm at it. One last little roll over on the cheeks. And round out these edges. This is actually working better than I thought to blunt out the edges of the jaw piece too. So, yay! Alright. Now, get my duster head and we'll see how we're looking. I think the nose is done, and all that's left with the jaw carvings is to really blunt out these inner corners, because obviously those would end on a tooth and not a round piece like the outside does. So I am actually really happy with how well this came out, considering I had zero expectations of this being successful. I was pretty sure I was about to just ruin this plate just for funsies, but I really like this. Okay, so yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take another one of my really sharp edges, and I'm going to go in these little inner corners and just turn, oops, focus, these last little edges into two last teeth. And then I think the carving on this is done, and it just needs, you know, a last final once over with the sandpaper before I start to paint it. I am genuinely very surprised and very pleased that this worked. Okay, let's see. This is another, just gonna have to look at all my heads and figure out which one would be the best for this particular action. I think, because I want to get really, really blunt edges, I think I am going to have to go with a really sharp head again. Yes, it's never a fail, it's a learning experience. Exactly. That's the way that I look at all of this, because I've never failed at a project that I didn't learn something significant in the process of my failing. So I consider every single one of these faceplates just an investment in my learning how to do this better next time. Even the ones that go really, really well, I usually look at and I'm like, man, I wish I did that part better. So every single one is a learning experience. Alright, now this one is pretty sharp. It's not as sharp as the one I used for the nose or the initial teeth lines, so I think this is going to be the best for this. So what I want to do is just, I think just lay it down on top first. Get myself a really good straight line. And then, bring this out to that line. Which is definitely easier said than done because this is a lot of plastic that I have already carved through. I actually think that this is not going to be the easiest. I think the easiest thing to do would be to just take one that's going to be maybe the next biggest one actually. So instead I'm going to try one that is, that is round but very blunt on top, so that I can just go straight down and hopefully get more of a blunted edge. So I'm just going to take it and pull straight down and try and get that edge to give me a nice sharp corner. Yep, okay, that's a million times easier. There we go. I was just overthinking it, that's all. Sometimes I just have to turn my brain off and just make, just let the creative part of the brain and not the thinking part of the brain take over for a minute. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing here. Push that blunt edge in until I get a corner. So much easier. Get those nice sharp corners going. Whoop. I think I'm also going to use this to just blunt out these edges here. Oh yeah, that's going really nicely. Okay. You want to bring this one in just a little bit, so just gonna sort of push in on this edge. Still getting that nice clean corner. Okay. Now, dusting head. We're almost done. This went really well. Okay, I actually have almost gone through on the cheeks here. You can see how it looks a little dark. that's where the plastic has gotten thin, but look at how thick that is that I had to carve through before I even got to that bottom layer of plastic. I mean, that's just, it's good. It's good. I mean, it's gonna hold up. That's what I'm reading from that, is that I don't have to worry it's gonna fall apart. So, okay, now I just need to bring this division here in between the two layers of teeth out into the edge so that those last two teeth do turn into teeth. So I'm going to grab my really sharp one more time. And just going to follow the line that's already there and just lean horizontally into it. And then I'm going to extend this up just a little bit. At the edge of where that little jaw section is, just to further make it clear that those are teeth at the edge of the jaw. And then do the same thing on the other side. And then I want to just carefully go over each of the other little teeth lines, just very gently, one more time. Just to make sure they're in there really good. Because my next step is going to be to go in with my hand files and smooth all of these edges. Alright, now, blow all the dust out of those little crevices, and see what we're working with. Just gonna get a little bit of these loose bits of plastic that are trying real hard to hang on. Just scrape all of those out. Got one up here at the edge of the nose cavity. All right. Oh yeah, I love it. This came out so cute. All right, so my last step is going to be to go in with my little hand files and just sand around in each of these little carvings, and what that's going to do is kind of round off the edges of the teeth and make them look a little more teeth-like, and less like they've been carved out of plastic. But I'm going to do that off camera because it's really not interesting to watch at all. But yeah, it's basically, I'm just going to go in and just sort of pick around in here until the teeth look more like teeth. And I did actually, there is one little hole that went through the plastic right there, and that's it. So I have taken quite a bit of plastic out of this face, and it's still going to snap very securely back together with the head. So it's going to be really cool when I put this together. I'm going to paint all of these areas that I carved out with my really good matte black, and this is the matte black that I use for all of my spooky dolls with the blacked out eyes or skeleton faces or any of that. It's super matte. It's really, really dark. It does this, honestly, I had a small bit of the Black 2.0, and this is honestly pretty comparable to Black 2.0 for the price. I thought Black 2.0 was not super impressive. I know the Black 3.0 is supposed to be better. I haven't tried it yet. But honestly, this was not that much worse than Black 2.0, and it cost, for this bottle, is $4. For a small bottle of Black 2.0 from Stuart Semple, I paid like, I want to say like $15, and then there was shipping on top of that, and I was not, I just wasn't that thrilled with it. So this is the black that I recommend. It's the black that I've got on Mr. Thorn here. So you can see it's really, really matte. It's very black. Oh, he has gotten very dusty sitting on top of this table. Let's give you a little dusting. Middie. Sorry, dude. Alright. Actually, since I am not currently sanding, we'll just do that. So this is what he's got in his scleras, and you can see how blacked out they look. This is Walmart paint. This is Walmart black paint that he's got on his face. So you don't need to buy super expensive paint. If you want a blackout look on your dolls, this is what I recommend, is Apple Barrel matte black paint. Buy it at Walmart. The little bottles this size are like 50 cents. This one, I didn't get it on sale, so it was like $4. If you can wait and get them on sale, they're like $3, $2, $3. So, alright, I do have like a little bit of dust or something in my eye. I'm gonna go flush my eye really quick. I'll be right back. Oh, better. Alright. This is why I see a lot of people wearing like full-on face protection when they do their sanding. I'm not about all that. I'm perfectly fine with a dust mask. I feel like that catches everything, except for the occasional bit of dust that'll get up under my glasses. But yeah, so I'm really happy with how this came out. I I do need a little tiny dust buster. My intention, actually, when I eventually get a craft room, it's going to have a floor that I can sweep, because I'm just going to continuously brush my dust, and then after every day that I do, like a carving day, I can go in there and just vacuum the entire carving area. That's the plan, anyway. Because this is very messy, unfortunately. But it is definitely worth it, because, like, I would not be able to do this without my Dremel. This came out so freaking cute. I'm really excited to get her painted. I actually bought this extra doll because I wanted to steal the bright white hair for my skeleton doll, because I think it'll be really cool to have the skeleton with white and put her in like a white dress and have her be a little ghost girl. Yeah, so that's one down. I could start on another big one, or I could start on another normal, regular, everyday face, which don't take as long, but they're also not quite as exciting because I don't do anything as ambitious as like carve an entire nose off. Yeah, I had started another one that I, again, just wasn't happy with how it was turning out, so I bought another plate to restart it. So I have that one I could do. I haven't decided what I'm doing with this face yet, but this is for sure going to be another one because I don't like how it is coming out so far. This is going to be another one that gets turned into an experimental face. So I have a few designs I have not tried yet. I think the next most experimental one is going to be the marionette. So I do want to do this one at some point soon. I know it doesn't look super experimental based on the sketch, but I am planning on carving actual wood grain into the marionette, both in the face and the body. So that's going to be a pretty ambitious project, and that I think would be good for a faceplate that I haven't done a whole lot with yet, and just I don't like the way I carved it. Let's see what else. I could also do this clown one, which is a less ambitious carving but a much more ambitious painting, because again, I haven't done that much with the face. The carving isn't bad, I'm just not happy with it. So I think this could be salvaged by painting it really elaborately. I could hide the bits that I'm not happy with. I think that's actually it. I've been catching up. I need to do some more sketches because I've been catching up really well on actually making the dolls that are in my sketchbook. Yeah, because I've got... The first one in here was my lizard girl, which I already did. She is made. She was actually one of my first dolls. I think she was number 5 for me. And then these were all of the experimental... Oop. Oh no, I'm changing my lighting. I just tried to move my camera and I bumped the back and it changed my lighting. These were all of the experimental sketches I did for Abby. And obviously I ended up using this bottom one for her. And then these were all the ones I did for my other little twin mascot doll, Effie. And I didn't end up using really any of these. Sort of a variation of this one I did on her. I've got the broken doll ready to be carved here. I'm knocking faceplates over everywhere. I'm just ignoring them for now. The marionette I haven't done yet. My pumpkin girl I did. I made her. That was Trixie. She was another really ambitious one. I tried to make the clay actually look like pumpkin skin. I don't know how good of a job I did with that, but an attempt was made. Okay. She also has that blackout matte paint, which in the dark really does look blacked out. And then her eyes, I made her eyes with glow-in-the-dark resin powder, so they glow in the dark. So she is a proper little jack-o'-lantern. Yeah, I didn't want to, like, I've seen people do pumpkin dolls where they make the face, like, really, really smooth and really neat looking, and I didn't want that. I wanted her to look like an actual jack-o'-lantern that had been carved. So my carving is a little ragged because you never get a clean carve on a real pumpkin. And the skin isn't smooth and neat. It's got pits. It's got, you know, it's got browning to it. Yeah. And then I tried to do a good shading on, like, gradient in the actual fleshy bits, but I don't know that I did that well with that. Yeah, anyway, I made her for me. She's not for sale. I did offer her for sale briefly when I was really desperate to pay bills, but I got them paid and ended up getting to keep her, so yeah, she's mine. I made her for me. Oh, I also did these cool little vines on her legs. So that was another one that I knocked out. And then I had, obviously, this guy turned into Mr. Thorn, which, oh, I do have blue eyes in here. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. I think I did a pretty good job of bringing him to life with his little mohawk. This is my absolute favorite faux fur. I love this. It's like a husky fur. I love it. Love it. I use it every single chance that I get. I just made more. I restocked my werewolves, and of course this is my favorite fur to put on my werewolves because it's just so fluffy and soft. Anyway, aside from that, this one I haven't done yet. The really brightly colored e-girl I want to do at some point. I need to order a super bright scalp. I just have to decide on a color. And then the clown I haven't done yet. These were all sketches that I made for a commission. I ended up doing this one and a variation of this one in blue. Over here was the mermaid twin that I did for that commission. And these are the sketches for my current commission. So, like, I'm really caught up on my sketchbook. I don't really have a whole lot of fleshed out ideas ready to go yet, so I need to do some more sketching. I'm doing this guy, closest, most similar to this top one, sort of a pouty little face. Well, it's not showing up well on camera, but I've got the base shading down on here. I need to spray him, and I can start doing his piercings and his eyebrows and all of the fun stuff. But yeah, I don't have a whole lot. I need to do some more sketching. There's nothing else in here that I haven't done yet, other than the clown, the marionette, and the neon e-girl. So, I mean, obviously I am always open to suggestions for dolls that people want me to make. Grab my little tool that ran away from me here. Using that. And the faceplate. Yeah, I've been filling up time with commissions, so I haven't been doing a whole lot of extra sketching and stuff. Yeah, the wolfies. I have this little one and the big bloody one are being shipped out this week. I'm going to try and get them in the mail tomorrow. We'll see. But then I've got this little one and this little one who looks so unintentionally cursed. I thought the button eyes would be cute. I don't know that it came out cute. I think it came out a little bit cursed, but I love it. So he'll be at my booth on Saturday at the Punk Rock Flea Market in North Olmsted. And then I've got one more with this awesome, fabulous, fluffy gray fur. And these last three I will have at my booth, so they're still available. And then I've got a couple of kitties. I have brought the kitties back temporarily because this felt is discontinued. So I have a couple of those. I packed up most of what was done. All I have out here is the stuff I was finishing up last night. And then Y2K Alien. So all the ones that are out here, I just finished up last night. The rest of them are already packed away in my inventory suitcase. Yeah, I'm gonna have cool stuff though. I'm gonna have cool stuff. I was hoping to get my fully sculpted art doll done in time. I did buy some hair wefts for her that I'm gonna get glued on here and get her some hair, but I just haven't had time to make a pattern for her clothes. So I need to do that. She's just gonna get like a really long, spooky little ghosty girl dress. I was debating taking her apart and remaking her because I made her arms really short by accident. And then because I intentionally made her legs really long, the short arms just look kind of silly. But I figure if she sits like on a shelf, like it doesn't look that bad, you know, because I want to have her holding like a teddy bear. So, you know, it won't be that weird for her arms to be in her lap as she's sitting, right? So I figure I just need to put a dress on her and nobody will notice. And then I wanted to get this one done in time too, but this one still needs a wig. I'm just going to stuff the head before I put a wig on it because it's got a hollow head. I'm just doing a faux fur wig, and then I need to do a little clown outfit. And for this one, I'm going to do a black clown outfit with white ruffs and cuffs. couldn't come up with that word. Yeah, so I've got the same little ruffles that I'm going to use for my Pierrette Blythe that I just made. I'm going to use the extras on this doll. And then the ones that I did manage to get done that will be available, I just need to put a seal on this one as soon as it's fully dry, but obviously, like you can see some of the chunky viscera all over, especially on the axe. Really needs time to fully solidify before I can spray it with MSC. And then also there's some of that on the neck that needs to fully cure. But as soon as that's cured, I can get it sprayed and sealed, and that will definitely be on my table on Saturday. And then I've got 5 of these my little spooky Cupies, with the little skeleton butts. I love the little skeleton butts. So I have 5 of these guys that I'm going to spray at the same time as I spray the little headless statue. Those will be available. And then I'm working on this girl. I'm not 100% sure. I need to finish her eyes. She's getting like little anime style eyes, so she's going to have another lighter purple. Stop trying to focus, please. She's going to have a slightly lighter purple pupil, but I need to seal all of the paint that's already on her first, and then paint all of her little baubles and make her a little dress. So I'm hoping that I'll have time to get her done by Saturday, but she may already be claimed. She has a tentative hold on her, so she may or may not be on my table. And then there were a few more pieces that I really wanted to get done, and I haven't had time. But those are the ones that are for sure going to be on the table, available, ready to buy on Saturday. Yeah, I think if I do poofy sleeves on her dress, I think it's not going to be as obvious that the arms are not proportional. And again, especially because I intended to make her as a sitting doll, so I really do think that that's going to help. But I don't know. I'm not mad. I'm pretty happy. This is my first time making a doll of this style, so I still feel like I did a pretty good job. I mean, the face isn't like the greatest, but I sculpted it out of polymer clay. And I've never sculpted a person before, like fully from scratch. So I still feel like she's not bad. Her eyes are getting a little sticky though. I think I put resin on them, and it's not fully cured, and it's just not curing all the way. So I'm gonna use gloss medium instead and go over that and hope that it seals it in well enough. We'll see, I guess. But yeah, I'm sort of just trying to figure out if I want to start another doll with this last half an hour, or what I want to do. I do need to restart my music. Hang on. There we go. Let's see. My little square is still green on OBS, so my stream is still going nice and smooth. I do want to go for like another half an hour, so we'll start another one. Let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this boy is coming out too. I hope that the person that I am making him for is also happy with him. I think he's coming out super cute. He's very pouty, kind of a little emo boy, but that's what I was going for. So now let me set him aside. Okay, I don't know that I want to start this one because this is a big project. I may honestly put this one off until after Saturday just because it's a really big project to start. And I'm still trying to decide which parts I want to actually carve out completely and which I just want to basically do what I did with the skeleton and just indent them so that I can paint them black. Because I don't know if I can take... Unfortunately, as much as I love the placement of these cracks, I don't know if I can take any of these areas out completely and be able to snap the face back together without it cracking. I may send some messages out to other doll makers I know who have done the cracked doll faceplates and see if they have any advice that they would share with me. I know it's kind of weird in the Blythe community. It's 50-50. People will either tell you every detail of every process that they use, or they won't share anything at all. So I think my best bet is just going to be to ask around as many people as possible and try and get some idea of what I can do without breaking this. I do feel like once the iMech is in, that may help it hold together better. So that I could probably at least take the eye area out and maybe this cheek area out. I don't know. I'm gonna worry about that later. Let's see. We'll start another one. Do I want to do another little one? I don't know if I've got the patience in me to do a little one. I'm trying to do like half an hour project, so we'll go with a bigger one. All right, so I'm gonna try and get. I really did like the nose that I was getting with this one. I think that was going well. I just wasn't happy with the lip shape that I carved. And again, it's not even bad. It's just that I'm picky and I just didn't like the way that it was going. So I think I'm going to try and recreate the same nose. And I may just not touch the lips today. So let's see. I need a flat. Is there a flathead on here? Yes. Okay. I think this is the right one too. Okay. So I wanted a more rounded nose. So I just kind of slowly chisel off the tip This is a much less dramatic nose job than I did on the little one, I promise. That one may have been scary to watch for my friends who also collect dolls. Watching me carve an entire nose off of a face. This one, I'm just trying to get it from this really kind of sloped, pointed nose to a more rounded nose. So I'm just taking just the edge of this sloped tip off, and then I'm going to go in with the Dremel and round it out. So just really the pointy bit. Trying to keep an eye on my stream on my tablet to make sure I'm not getting laggy or anything. Oh no. I think my battery died. Okay. I'm just going to have to keep an eye on my square, and if my square changes colors, I will ask you guys how it's going. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that it's going okay. I've never tried to stream while my mom is working from home, so I'm just not sure how much our internet can handle. So if I get laggy, I'm going to assume I'm slowing the internet down and stop my stream so that I'm not affecting her internet, basically. But so far it seems like it's going pretty well. Our internet upgrade really does seem to have made a big difference. Oh, am I back? Yeah, my battery's really low. Okay. I may turn this off then. I would plug it into my computer, but all of my USB plugs are currently taken. So, can't do that. Alright. Okay, I've gotten most of it. So, what I'm going to do now is get a slightly smaller blade. Oh, just trying to screw this on. Nope, what am I doing? That goes there. Oh my god, pay attention. The ADHD brain is taking over. Okay, there we go. Get a smaller blade. And just run it along the top from each direction, so that I'm just shaving off little slivers. And once it's relatively the shape that I want, I'll get the Dremel and start smoothing it. Okay. So this, we're gonna go back to one of the more blunt tips. Of course, now I have managed to spread my tips all over the entire table. Not this one. No, not that one, because that one is angled. I want just a big round blunt boy. In fact, I may even just go with one of these because I want it to be a much softer sanding so that I can work nice and slow and get exactly the amount I want taken off. So I'm going to do this one, which has, come on, a blunt side and a round side. Alright, let me put my airway protection back on. Because plastic dust is toxic. Alright, actually I'm going to go even a little bit slower. And just do really gentle swipes. You want to always keep this moving. You never just want to sit it in one place unless you're trying to specifically carve something away. When you want to shape, you always want to be moving. You got to keep the speed kind of low and slow. And I also went around this edge, so I'm going to do kind of the same thing here. And the more you just turn it around and look at it from every angle, the easier it is to catch anything that is starting to get kind of asymmetrical before it becomes unfixable. This is generally the slowest part of any carve for me. I always take a lot of time on the noses. I'll bring this tip down just a little bit more. I feel like noses are honestly where I struggle the most, so that's why I spend way more time on them. So yeah, it was very refreshing with that first one to just chop it right off. It was nice doing a skeleton face. Just getting that out of the way and then not having to worry about a nose. Just give her the old Voldemort treatment. which is what I'm trying very hard not to do on this one. So, camera, will you? Thank you. Right there. So, I feel like, oh, see, the camera likes this one better because it's a darker skin, I think. It doesn't like focusing on the really, really white faces. But I think the fakey Middie Blythes only come in that really pale white. I haven't seen anybody making them in other colors. I would love to work on them in other colors, but Middies already aren't produced as much, and I don't want to take any real ones off the market because they're already kind of hard to find, kind of expensive. I'm just checking it from every possible angle, making sure I'm really happy with it. And I'm liking it so far, so I'm gonna put this away and take this off for a minute because I'm gonna do the nostrils, but I want to sketch them out first. Okay, yeah, the pencil's not gonna work. Sometimes you just gotta use the little Sharpie. I always use these extra fine ones because I can just do the tiniest little lines and make sure that I'm only marking the exact area that I want to carve. And then I know I'm not going to leave any Sharpie behind on the face after I've finished carving. Like, it's not an issue to leave pencil behind on a face because pencil will come off in the final sanding. Like, just running that sandpaper over the face, it's going to take any pencil off that's left on there. But it won't necessarily always take off Sharpie. So, I know a lot of people won't use them to mark their faces for that reason. But I specifically like them because you can't rub the Sharpie off by accident. Like, that's only going to get taken off if you carve it off or if you intentionally sand it off. So you can mark your areas and those marks will stay put. And I do find that as long as you remove them quickly, you can just kind of scratch them off with your files without having to actually sand away any of the plastic. So they are temporarily erasable. Just trying to get some symmetrical nostrils here. And I also tend to mark my faces upside down because it makes your brain look at them less like faces and more like a shape. And that way it's easier to get them really symmetrical. And I think I put those nostrils a little higher up on the nose than I actually want them. So give me one of these round ones. And we'll just scrape that away until it's low enough that I'm happy with it. I was really excited to work on a doll with darker skin because I've done the tan faceplates a few times. This is my first time doing a dark skin faceplate, and they have their own set of challenges. There are things that are a little bit different about working with them than working with other Blythe faceplates. The number one thing is that as you sand and carve on them, they do, like you can see looking at this one, there's light spots from where it's been sanded and carved. They get temporarily lighter as you're working on them, so you have to spray them with a layer of MSC, which for whatever reason, I don't know the exact reason why it does this, but that basically brings it back to its original color. So you got to do that before you start putting the blushing and stuff on there, and then in between each layer of blushing, so that you know what color it's going to turn out, because otherwise you can get a color you were not expecting. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good nostril shape. Oh, it looks really uneven when I put it on the camera, but I swear it looks even in person. Let me fix it. Go upside down again. Let me see, is that looking better? I think it's got to just be like the angles. Here, let me get this lined up right. Now the one that I put up higher looks too high, so it was right before. Okay, we'll get this. We'll get this. This is why I spend the most time on noses than any other part of their body. Like my dolls they get piercings, they get tattoos, they get all kinds of fun stuff, and the thing that takes me the most time is these little fucking noses. Line this up again. Okay. I mean, it's not absolutely perfect. I swear it looks better in person than it does on the camera. I think once I get them in there, it'll be easier to figure out where I need to adjust to make them symmetrical. All right. I need to put away the very sharp one because this one is not good for nostrils. Okay. Where is... I need the little small one. Where's my small bean? Small bean. Not small bean. Small bean. Here we go. This one that I was using before. This is my nostril one. So we're going to do this. Airway protection. All right, take a deep breath. This is the scary part because there's no going back from here. Okay, so what I'm gonna try and do is go in from the angle that the nostril would actually be on each side. And when I make that initial hole, I just go straight in and I keep pushing and pushing and pushing until it starts to actually sink in. And then you do the same thing and you give a slight pull outwards and then you kind of wiggle. And push it in until it starts to sink and give it a very slight wiggle and pull towards the outside. And we're going to sand off all these little loose bits. And smooth it all around. Oh, I hate this part. It's so nerve-wracking. Alright, next. Deep breath. In, push and push and push. Come on. It's not going in. Oh, there we go. Oh, had a little moment of panic there. Oh, that's weird. This one has got like it's turned into a little booger. She's got a boogie. Oh no. That has never happened before. All of the plastic that I was trying to push through turned itself into a little boogie up her nose. So I think the best way to get that out is going to be with my really sharp one. I'm going to have to try not to push it too far because I don't want to make the nostril super deep. You can usually tell when a nostril has accidentally been made too deep. It just looks like a cavern in the face instead of a nostril. Alright, so I'm going to have to be really careful about this. I'm just trying to sort of reach in there and break up that little boogie. I don't want to make the nostril bigger. Just trying to break up that weird little curl of plastic that happened that I don't know why that happened. Maybe a more experienced customizer would be able to tell me why that happens, but I've never had that happen before. They don't usually get boogers when I carve their nose. Okay. Go back to the nostril head. And I'm going to even these out a little bit. Now that I got the booger out of her nose. Alright, get the duster again here. I think this is pretty good. Alright, so I feel like those are pretty even. She's still got the little boogie up on one side. It's not coming out. I'm sure there is a way I can get that out. It may not look as noticeable once I get the blushing up the nose that I do, because I usually just put a little bit of brown up the nose to give some shadowing. I think the nose looks pretty good. Come on, focus. I'm pretty happy with the shape. I think the nostrils are even, aside from the one having a weird little booger in it. I got a nice little curve going on it without it being that really sloped, super pointed nose. I may even round it out a little bit more off camera, just hand sanding it. But I'm not going to do the lips yet today because it is 5 o'clock, which is when I had planned on ending for the day. Because I do still have show prep I have to get done. I need to get all of these that are off to the side that I was showing off packed up and ready to go for Saturday. I think my new tablecloth that I ordered should be here, so I probably need to throw that in the dryer. I got stuff to do. So I think that's going to be it for today, now that I am significantly dusty. Yeah. So thank you for tuning in. I am planning on doing a gaming stream this week if I find time in between show prep stuff. I am mostly ready to go, so I may do one on Friday during the day. I'm not going to do it at night because I have to get up early on Saturday to go. Let me do this. Why is this being weird? Here we go. There we go. Okay. So I have to get up early on Saturday to actually get my stuff out to the venue and set up and everything. So I'm not going to do my game stream on Friday night because I want to get to bed somewhat early, obviously. So I will probably do game stream during the day. I want to try and finish Whispering Willows. That's what it's called, right? Whispering Willows? Yeah. I want to try and finish Whispering Willows. I think there's maybe like an hour left, maybe 2 hours, depending on how lost I get. But I think I'm nearing the end. So I'm going to try and finish that during the day on Friday. That's pretty much it. I don't plan on doing anything this weekend because I think Saturday is going to wipe me out. I don't think I'm going to want to do anything on Sunday. So we'll see how I feel the week after, how much this show drains me, if I want to do an art stream next week or if I'm going to put it off until the weekend. There will be one next week for sure. I just don't know. I don't know when. There will be game stream next week, so there will be 2 streams next week, just not sure what day. Also, I know I've been really bad. I keep forgetting to put my VODs up on YouTube. I'm going to try and do that next week as well, get all of those caught back up. I'll probably be uploading like a video a day to get myself caught up for a while. So, alright, that's it. I'm going to see if there is someone I can raid out to now that I know how to raid people. Let me hop on over to Twitch. Let's see. Oh, Tish is still going. We'll go raid Tish. Okay, so I think the way that I do this, I go over to channel, and in my own chat box, I type /raid, and then more Tish Noir. Enter. Raid has been created. All right, we're gonna go raid Tish. She is super nice, super fun. If you enjoy my channel, you will definitely like Tish. So she is playing Resident Evil 4. We're gonna go raid over there. All right. Thanks for hanging out. See you next time.